Hey, what is up guys, Al Palantir here to give you guys my review of Danganronpa 3. If you followed my channel for a long time, you know that I am a huge fan of the Danganronpa series. So happy to be reviewing Season 3 of this. What's so weird about this to me is that they completely skipped Danganronpa 2. It went straight from Danganronpa to Danganronpa 3. Now, I'm not sure if they're planning on filling that in at some point in the future, but either way, Danganronpa 3 looks extremely promising so far. I'm really loving the direction it's going. To begin with, I want to mention that this Danganronpa 3 got significantly better ratings than the first Danganronpa. The reasons for this, I think, there are two main reasons. One would be the animation, which is significantly better in Danganronpa 3 than the original series. And then the pacing. Whereas in the original Danganronpa, what we had was about halfway through the episode, we just got the setup for the survival game. In Danganronpa 3, however, it takes the full episode to do the same thing. So the pacing is just a lot slower and a lot better, because the thing about this series that is really important are the characters, right? There are a lot of characters, and the main way of really getting across to the viewer, you know, the main thing we're interested in is getting to know each and every character, more things about them, more interactions between these characters. The more time we have to do that, the better. So the slower pacing is very welcomed. So getting into the review, the main premise for this, from what I can understand, is we have the Future Organization and the Despairs that are battling against each other, sort of for control of the world, because the Despairs, I believe after Danganronpa 1, maybe it was within Danganronpa 2, completely took over the world and started just wrecking shit up. And Naegi, we have over here, saved, actually, after defeating Junko and Oshima, their leader, saved most of the Despairs from certain death. So the Future Organization now looks at Naegi as a traitor. So that's really an interesting development. And of course, we have a few of the characters we recognize from the original series, such as Asahina and Kirigiri, who are sort of hanging around Naegi during this episode. Now, we have a few other characters that we are introduced to. Now, who Munakata is, it seems like he's the vice president of the Future Organization, and someone who has extreme disdain for Naegi because of what he did, which a few of the Future Organization officers dislike Naegi for this. Understandably, Naegi's reasoning for what he did, for this treason, freeing their enemies, was that at one point in their lives they probably had hope. Now, for people who saw Danganronpa 1, Naegi has never been logical, he's never been smart, and honestly this seems like it makes no sense. But I'm hoping they're going to explore why exactly he helped his enemies in the future. Now, the content of this episode, surprisingly, even though the pacing was slow, was mostly character interaction, so we really didn't get too much plot development, like I said. What we have, basically, is during their meeting, where they're trying to interrogate Naegi, their base of the Future Organization, which is supposed to be an enclosed area, a safe area, is attacked by the Despairs, and they're once again captured by Mono Bear. Now, what's interesting about this, I think, is that their location was supposed to be completely safe, untraceable, and no one would know about it. What this means is that there is a traitor among them. There's a traitor within the Future Organization that gave away their location, and it might be the girl that died. Similar to how in the original Danganronpa series, the Junko and Oshima, I believe, died episode 1, and she turned out to be the mastermind behind everything. I hope they don't reuse this, honestly. That would be terrible if they reuse it. It almost seems too obvious, but one of them is definitely a traitor. That's pretty much it for the first episode, honestly. Again, not too much happened in this episode. It was more of a establishing the beginning of the survival game and getting some character interactions down. I'm not going to go too in-depth into any of these characters yet, okay? Reason being, I'm gonna go over them more in depth in my other reviews. We don't know too much about the characters. Of course, we saw these interactions, but they were mostly fun interactions. We had that one guy that was saying these random sayings that he came up with, but overall, there was nothing too meaningful that was said in this episode, other than the main plot progression leading up to the characters all being stuck in a room with Mona Bear, ready to play the final game of life and death for the survival of humanity. But that's it for this review. Let me know any other series from this season that you want to see reviewed or anything like that. Catch you guys later.